Right, hello everybody and welcome to this week's episode of Health Code. I've got a fantastic guest coming up for you shortly. We're going to dive into all things chronic diseases, which just seem to be rising just about everywhere across the world. And we're going to dive into some of the reasons why and some of the ways that you can protect yourself against the most common ones. Well, before we get into that, we're going to talk about something interesting. Well, I think it's interesting anyway. Fasting is sort of an age-old concept. It's something that's become a bit of a fad that many have tried, whether that be 5-2, whether that be 24-hour fasts, whether that be 86-hour fasts, whatever. But very rarely do you hear people talk about the science behind fasting and why it's actually really good for you. People tend to just use it for weight loss, for short-term dramatic weight loss to get into dresses, go ready for holidays, and so on. But it actually has so many incredible health benefits for you. And if you use it well and you use it effectively and efficiently, it can have a dramatic impact on your health for the better. So if you think back not too far, when we would have been hunter-gatherers, when we would have eaten when there was food available, and then you'd have had to wait until there was more food available through hunting to be able to eat again, you obviously wouldn't have eaten 3 meals a day at set times. Your body wouldn't have got used to that situation where you're having breakfast, lunch and dinner. You'd have eaten to a point when you were full, and then you didn't really necessarily know when you were going to eat again. So as a result, your body went through quite prolonged states of fasting, not by design, but it's just the way that it happened. It's the way that our lives used to be. It's the way that we used to live. As a result, our bodies have evolved and are, some may argue, actually primed and designed originally to handle extended states of fasting and extended periods without food. We need water significantly more than we need food. You supposedly can only go about 3 days without food, but you can go 30 days, if not more, without any kind of food. 3 days without water, 30 days without food. So it just goes to show which one is more important to the body and which one your body needs and craves more, and which one it will notice the deprivation of significantly sooner. So what is really the science behind fasting, and why does it matter that our bodies are maybe not built to eat 3 meals a day at set times and always have food available every single day? Well, one is weight. One is, we live in an era now when people are progressively getting more and more overweight. They're consuming more and more calories. They're also consuming more and more calories from ultra highly processed foods, which give absolutely no nutritional benefit to the body. So as a result, they're consuming even more. So that's one aspect of it. If you think back to when you would have been hunter-gatherers, even if you were eating a large meal, and I don't think they were counting calories back in those times. I don't think they had MyFitnessPal and other calorie counting apps. They just got on with it. They ate till they were full. But you weren't overeating. If you go back, not too far really, even before the current couple of generations, when we weren't hunter-gatherers at that point, you look at obesity, it didn't really exist. It was a very rare thing. And you go back further and further, obesity at one point was actually seen as a sign of wealth because you could afford to eat more. But back in the day when we were eating essentially the hunt, we were eating what we could get, what we could find, what we could forage for, and eating what was in season. Obesity wasn't a thing. People didn't used to count calories. They just used to eat till they were full, and they didn't overeat. So that's one aspect to it. I don't believe that we necessarily need the amount of calories that we are told we do. So in the UK, the guidelines are 2,500 calories for a man, 2,000 calories for a woman. I don't necessarily believe we need that much food, because that's not taking anything into consideration about your lifestyle. If you're working an office job, you don't go to the gym, you don't train, you're working a job where you're sat down all day, how do you need the same amount of calories as somebody that's working on a building site, that's on their feet all day, that's moving around, that's walking, that's picking up things? It's madness. It's a generalization, it's an average, but it provides no context to an individual. So basically ignore that, in my opinion. I don't think that works. But I think, weight and the amount of calories we're consuming is one thing in terms of fasting, and how that could be something that's changed significantly in line with this increase in weight. Another big one is your gut, your digestive system, and how that food is processed and digested into the body. If you think about it from this perspective, if you think about your car, if you turn your car engine on and you drive and you drive and you drive, and you stop, fill it up with petrol, drive again, you're going to wear that engine out pretty quickly. You're going to wear that car out. You're going to wear the tyres out. You're going to wear the brakes out, and so on, because it's never getting a rest. It's never getting a chance to recover. Hence why cars are not really designed to do that. Cars are not designed to be driven 24 hours a day. In the same way, our bodies and our digestive systems, they're not built to be working, digesting food 24 hours a day. And if you think about when you're in a state of fasting, it gives those systems time to rest, time to recover, and time to regenerate. If something is working, if something is switched on, it's not repairing itself. It's not devoting any energy towards repairing, towards revitalizing itself, towards improving itself. It's simply trying to stay functioning. It's simply trying to stay afloat. Hence why, again, a good example is you can actually work out too much because your muscles recover and your muscles grow and your muscles repair during a state of rest. So if you're working out, if you're in the gym for 24 hours a day, your muscles are not going to have that time to recover, and therefore you're not going to get stronger, and you actually find you'll get weaker. And that's something that I learned actually the hard way when I hit a bit of a brick wall with training, found out I was training too much. And as a result, your body wasn't getting that chance to rest and recover and recuperate. You can apply that same principle and that same argument, and there's scientific research and study and literature to back up the fact that if your digestive system, if your gut microbiome is constantly in a state of working to digest whatever food that we're consuming, add into that if you're consuming toxic, highly processed foods as well, that digestive system's working even harder to break down those compounds and try and excrete any nutrients that they have within them. No wonder people feel tired and sluggish after eating. So giving your digestive system that break, that time off to recover, to heal, to repair any of the damage that's been done by your diet, which happens anyway. Even if you've got a great diet, your digestive system is working hard to obviously try and get nutrients out of that to give you energy, to send to different parts of the body, to repair muscle tissue, to take care of all your vital organs and your respiratory system and all the things that your body needs to do to be able to survive and to be able to function and thrive. It's doing all of those things. It's working hard constantly. So giving it that time by fasting is one of the reasons that the health benefits of fasting are becoming more and more well known, more and more well discussed, and it's becoming more than just a diet tool. It's becoming a health tool, and many people will fast for a day a week, for example, or 2 days a week, or they'll do intermittent fasting, which is also incredibly beneficial to limit your eating to a certain window of time within a day. One, because it's cost efficient. It will save you money if you're only having 2 meals a day rather than 3. And secondly, it gives your body every single day that rest and that time to recover. Because what our bodies will do is when we're fasting, we're in a state of fasting, a prolonged state of fasting, which is usually anything over around 30 hours, your body enters a type of mechanism called autophagy. Now, everybody is different. Some bodies will get there sooner, some will get there a little bit longer, but 30 hours is probably a pretty good average to use for the body in terms of how long it takes to get there. And essentially what your body starts to do is it starts to look at itself and go, well, I don't know when I'm going to eat again. So as a result, I need to become incredibly efficient. I need to prioritize the vital systems of the body. I need to break down and attack and find broken cells, dead cells, and regenerate or get rid of them. So as a result, your body goes through almost like a rejuvenation. That's why anybody that's done a prolonged fast, and I've done 86 hours, I've done 96 hours. The first couple of days might be difficult, especially as your body has a bit of a sugar crash after 24 hours. If you have a high sugar diet, you'll find this more difficult. After that, when you get up the start of the third day, it's what I have found anyway. When you get up to start of the third day and you're around sort of 36, 40 hours and beyond, you feel great. Your skin feels great. Your energy levels feel great. There's a slight state of hunger there that's there most of the time, but it's not uncomfortable. It's not painful. It's certainly not something that you struggle to deal with. The hardest thing I found is you want to chew something, you get a bit bored. But in terms of how your body feels, you feel incredible. You'll find your sleep really well. You wake up with energy. Your skin will feel great. You feel just completely rejuvenated. And that's something that is one of the benefits of fasting. And that's what you feel on the outside. Think about what's going on in the inside if that's how you feel on the outside. It's really, really beneficial for you. And it's something that I would advise anybody to do, whether you do it on a frequent basis, whether you do it on a consistent basis, like intermittent fasting, like 5-2, where you maybe do 2 days a week or 1 day a week, or whether you do a prolonged fast. So I try and mix it up a bit because I'm a big believer in keeping your body on its toes and not doing things for too long. So I try and mix it up slightly rather than get into a routine that I do. I might do something for a month and then try something else for a month and just keep my body guessing. But before I go on holiday, I always do 86 hours as kind of a way of earning the trip. And you always go feeling great. You feel fresh and revitalized. Sometimes I'll do intermittent fasting and I'll do 6 hours of eating a day, 18 hours of fasting. Again, feel great. Occasionally I'll do a 1 day a week fast where maybe have dinner on Sunday evening and then don't have anything again until Monday evening. So you have a 24-hour fast. And it's really, really important that during that time you continue to keep yourself well hydrated, of course. You continue to keep your body moving, not insane heavy exercise, but whether it be walking, whether it be like jogging, whether it be something to keep your body moving, that's absolutely fine. And as I say, there's so many benefits of fasting. And one of the ones I sort of alluded to there that many people don't talk about is the cost. Fasting costs nothing. It costs nothing except your time and dedication. Literally costs nothing. In fact, it will save you money. If you intermittent fast, for example, 7 days a week, and you only have 2 meals a day rather than 3, let's say you're spending an average of £3 per meal, well, that's going to save you £21 a week by doing that. If you do a 7-day fast, if you do a 5-day fast, if you do a 4-day fast, it's going to save you, say on average £10 a day that you're not spending on food, and it's also going to have incredible health benefits for you. If you have a weekly food budget and you want to try and prioritize buying higher quality ingredients, fasting is a brilliant way to help with that, because if you have £10 a day, for example, rather than putting £3 or £3.30 recurring into each meal, you can put £5 into 2 meals, £5 into your lunch, £5 into your dinner, which allows you to spend a little bit more on each meal so you can get higher quality ingredients by simply missing out that meal, as well as helping your health. That's a really good example there. You're helping your health twofold. You're fasting, which has all those benefits I've just described, and you're saving money, which allows you to put more into the food that you are eating. It's not a fad diet. It's not something that's going to go away. It's not something that's going to be forgotten about in the rearview mirror in 5 years. And as the next buzz thing comes on, there will be all that, of course. But fasting is something that stood the test of time because it has incredible health benefits and it has incredible psychological health benefits as well. There's been numerous studies that have highlighted the impact it's had on chronic diseases, on things like cancer, on things like depression, on autoimmune conditions, on diabetes, on so many different conditions. It has so many health benefits. And if you haven't tried it, I would strongly advise that you try it. Start off nice and simple, 16 hours a day, 8 hours of eating, do something like that. Even if you do that a couple of days a week and just build from there. I'm not suggesting anybody goes and takes on a 7-day water fast from a standing start, but I think it's something that's very important to incorporate into your diet and incorporate into your health. And trust me, I speak from personal experience and of people I've interviewed, people I've spoken to, and tons of testimonies and literature I've read online. It has so many benefits for your health, and it's something that once you start doing, you can get quite addicted to and will do more and more frequently. Right, the reason I chose to speak about that today is because, as I mentioned, fasting has had a massive impact on so many chronic diseases, particularly things like cancer and so on. There's many people out there that are saying it has incredible healing benefits, and there's lots of evidence to suggest that. So I've seen personal accounts, seen doctors, seen case studies and so on that have supported that. So it's something definitely to explore further.